the Rugby World Cup on ITV. Tonight it's Ireland, strongest country of the home nations, who are in the spotlight. It's Ireland's second match in Pool D against Georgia. Brilliant atmosphere building up down there in Bordeaux as well. Ireland playing again down there in Bordeaux against the Georgians, who have a lot of players playing in France but have never won a Rugby World Cup game. Settle back and enjoy it with our commentators, Will Greenwood, and first of all, a very good evening to John Champion.
A very good evening to one and all. The Irish, of course, blessed with wonderful travelling support, and they've done their usual makeover on Bordeaux. Green reigns supreme across the city and right around this Stade Chaban Delmar. The few Georgian fans are going to have to sing with some gusto to make themselves heard this evening. The walk from the dressing rooms to the mouth of this tunnel is something of a route march, further than at most other stadiums. The other problem is that the tunnel is designed for soccer players, not lock forwards, so O'Connell, O'Callaghan and O'Kelly have been in danger of bumping their heads as they emerge on a very warm evening here in Bordeaux. The airport here hasn't seen anything like it for years. A stream of wide-bodied jets arriving all day as the invasion has gathered pace, carrying thousands of supporters, some of them fairly wide-bodied too. And what of Ireland? Eddie O'Sullivan admits the mood in the camp has bordered on a wake, his words, since the victory that felt like a defeat against Namibia. He says they've gone back to basics in training this week. They are looking backwards in the hope of moving forwards. Temperature 73 degrees, barely a breath of wind, and the two sets of players lining up in front of the Tribune of Honour in the main stand, and the assembled dignitaries ahead of the playing of the two national anthems. Sullivan has said to his underachievers of last week, go out and prove yourselves. Hence only one change in the team. Andrew Trimble has a fractured finger, but would have made way anyway to accommodate the return of Shane Horgan on the wing. But it's the pack that's been the focus of most critical attention. 6 Munstermen in there, and all told it's Ireland's most capped starting 15 ever, 796 caps between them. Different story with Georgia, 10 changes from the team that caused Argentina so many problems. Their aim here to win one game. They've targeted Namibia, of course. All but 2 of their squad play in France, 6 of them with clubs in the top 14. They admit to feeling at home here, but tonight Bordeaux feels like an outpost of Ireland. Such is their support. The referee, the 28-year-old barrister from England, Wayne Barnes, who had the misfortune to be in charge of Ireland's warm-up international, a so-called friendly, in Bayonne, in which Brian O'Driscoll received that serious facial injury. Happily, he recovered, and Malkas Kvirikashvili prepares to get this game underway. This time for Ireland, they need to get it right. No half measures, no uncertainty, and afterwards, surely no regrets. The World Cup has suffered a false start, but for John Hayes and company, with the big guns of Pool D lying in wait, they need a very convincing victory tonight. So, Kvirikashvili with the short kick. And Ireland gathering through Shane Horgan. Stringer and O'Gara at half-back as ever, setting a new world record, or at least equaling one tonight. 52nd time that they've partnered each other in a major international, equaling the mark of Troncon and Diego Dominguez of Italy. Gervin Dempsey caught man and ball. Georgia sure to provide a stern physical test. Wayward pass forces O'Gara backwards. And he looks to touch on that far side. Will Greenwood is alongside me.
Good evening, John. Exactly what Eddie O'Sullivan didn't want. A poor pass, basics let them down. It was great to see Shane Horgan get an early touch. I think he adds more balance to the Irish team when he plays. Hugely intimidating figure on that right wing. Just gives them more of a variety of options in the back line. As you saw with the power and the frost of that first hit from the Georgians, Eddie O'Sullivan is expecting hand-to-hand combat, as always with these huge Georgians. They are an immensely physical side that must be matched, but then you must look to move them around. There is space. They're not as well organised as other international sides. There are opportunities, but they will come hard early on.
Well, it's Uroshadze who took it from the line out. And that's the captain, Zed Ganitza. Will Greenwood, speaking of course from first-hand experience, he was part of the England side that played against Georgia in Perth at the last World Cup. And Georgia, as is their wont, keeping it tight, keeping it close. Number 4 with the scrum cap is the skipper, Zed Ganitza. Picked up by Gogodze.
They love a good arm wrestle, the Georgians. This is what they're trying to do early on. Just test the power of the Irish front 5, take them on at close quarters. They don't have an extremely expansive game, but they've been turned over. And a chance for the Irish scrum with the big John Hayes. You talk to the Irish guys and they talk about O'Driscoll in the backline when he misses. They don't play well, but they view that when John Hayes doesn't play, Ireland also don't play well, so he's a huge bonus to have in that front row. Ireland so far, so many nearly times recently. The Grand Slam this year with that last-minute try by Vincent Clerc at Croke Park. Too many times. Occasionally they go missing on the road. 43-3 against France last year. But they've come to this World Cup. They've got belief. They've got players of O'Driscoll's quality, Darcy's quality, O'Connell in the second row. They do feel they can turn over the big teams on the big occasions. The problem they've got is it starts next week with France and then Argentina and then a quarter-final, potentially New Zealand. It just gets tougher, so they need to find some rhythm and some tempo this evening. They need to start putting those basics into practice and not concentrate on the scoreboard, concentrate on the process.
Ireland with marginally the heavier pack, certainly the more experienced. Simon needs to be okay after that stint of treatment. And Wayne Barnes may need to administer one or two instructions to the two front rows over their engagement.
This is where my scrummaging know-how will come into good effect here, John.
I've set aside 20 minutes later in the half for that, Will. Ireland seek to get onto the front foot for the first time in this game. Stringer waits. Ronan O'Gara. Full-back is Barkalaya, who takes it at pace and advances inside Ireland territory. Georgia were pleased with their first half display against Argentina. Less pleased with the way they perhaps inevitably fell away. Sankaradze, Virikashvili. Now Gorgodze, this monster of a second row. All 19 stone of him. Sankaradze. Now it's Urashadze.
Positive play from the Georgians, keeping the ball in hand, moving it around, looking to use their big men in the midfield. You might expect Kvirashvili to go to the boot at some stage. Tess Dempsey gets some big Georgian midfield runners charging him down, but they seem comfortable at the moment.
It's with their skipper, Zedganitsa. And Georgia have a penalty.
Strong start, very strong start. Ireland can't get their hands on the ball. Ronan, I felt he was going for touch there. I think he'd like to get O'Connell and O'Callaghan up there competing for the ball. Misses touch. The Georgians had anticipated. They covered the back area well. They did what South Africa did last night, dropped everyone deep and said, where are you going to kick? Kicked straight down the fullback's throat, and he run back with some extreme venom. And from that, they kept the ball, they maintained it, they moved it. The little scrum half, Sam Karadze, who came on as a substitute in the last 20 minutes against Argentina, looks lively. Directing play, using his big forwards, and it creates an opportunity for Georgia to take the lead. Not an easy kick, but again, not a kick that clouds mind early on. It's a shot to nothing. If you miss this sort of kick, well, it was a tough effort. It sails through, it fills you with confidence for the rest of the evening.
It's Merab Virikashvili, who plays his club rugby in France with Pau. He's the youngest player at the last World Cup at the age of 19. Well, he gave it an opportunity, but it is wide.
Yeah, we had a good result against Georgia at the start of the last World Cup, but we all needed ice baths. You know you've been in a game against these Georgians, you expect a good victory, but you know the physical challenge that they'll present will mean you do have to stand up to it. Yes, there is space out wide, but you must match them for physicality early on, and at this stage, they just seem to be winning the contact, just finding the tackles by the Ireland being made by arms rather than shoulders. And that's a brilliant take and an extremely dangerous piece of play by O'Connell.
Chukwueze taken out in the air by O'Connell. Georgia very quick to take the tap.
Not looking to see if their second row got up. They're off and away.
Doesn't say much for the team spirit. You recover at your own pace. This is Gorgodze. Kvirikashvili. And now Ujukashvili. Record try scorer for Georgia with 15. Kvirikashvili flings the long ball wide towards Shkinin, but the pass was forward, which I don't think our good friend Avtandil Kopaliani quite realised.
That was his moment. He was going to go home, and he'd scored from 100 yards against the Irish. Jason Leonard, I think, played 114 times for England, scored one try. I often asked him why he bothered playing.
Forward pass.
We've talked about the physical challenge of Georgia. Well, what about from an Irish perspective? What's par for them on an occasion such as this, particularly coming off the back of the disappointing Namibia experience?
Excluding the errors they made in the first half was to come in here and cut out the errors. They've been extremely narky in training. Speaking to Gavin Duffy before the game, a good friend of mine who used to be at Harlequins, and he feels that the 8 guys who didn't get a chance last week felt they might have had an opportunity this week, which has meant in training, when the team was announced, they've dug in, they've stuck in. They're helping, but at the same time disappointed. So there's a feeling that Ireland really have to not set the record straight, but get their World Cup going. They stumbled home against Namibia. They allowed them into the game, and you could tell last week that when the chant of Allez les Bleus was ringing out from the Namibians, that it hadn't gone well at all for the Irish. And Eddie O'Sullivan was extremely disappointed with. He sets very high standards when it comes to basics, and they fell a long way short. So this week, they'll look to cut those errors out. I do feel they looked at the scoreboard from the France-Argentina game and thought this could be a three-way tie. We need to score a lot of points. And so rather than look after the process and let the scoreboard do the work, they chased the big plays early on, and the errors followed.
Chip kick by Stringer, which Horgan tried to field. Georgia eager for more possession. Virakashvili. Hoisted into the still Bordeaux night.
You can tell they're a bit edgy there, Ireland. No one came forward to claim that. The Georgian had a clean attempt to take that ball.
Irish penalty. And Wayne Barnes' patience wearing evidently very thin with the hooker, Švelice.
You can see Ronan, first look, he's a very positive player, looking across the field for his old pal Dennis Hickey, seeing if the cross kick was on. And now he'll look to make a safe touch. David Wallace, what a player he's been for Ireland over the past few years. Came out of the Lions in 2001. A supercharged athlete, runs around all day, tremendous lung capacity, very brave. Tremendous for Munster down the years, at the heart of Munster's efforts when they won the European Cup. Such a hard man. And Marcus Horan, another Munster man, a prop who likes the open spaces. Normally very agoraphobic, our forward friends, but Marcus Horan enjoys being out there.
Just over 8 minutes played. I apologise for the lack of a clock graphic on your screen. That's down to our French host broadcasting colleagues. Score is 0-0 here.
Great tackle by Kasharava and O'Driscoll. Sensed the outside gap, Brian.
This is O'Driscoll. Piling in was O'Connell. Quicker ball for Stringer this time. Gordon Darcy. On the wide outside is Marcus Horan. Horan, one of the most mobile props around. Stringer back the other way with Dennis Hickey.
Scored a great try just like that for Leinster against Dajon last year. Knows and sniffs the try line, Dennis Hickey. A great number of tries, and approaching his retirement this last World Cup is bowing out after this. A great servant of Irish rugby and a wonderful finisher.
John Hayes lost the ball forward, and Georgia will clear. Back goes Gordon Darcy for Ireland. Fielded by Samkaradze, the scrum half. Now Urashadze. Utukashvili. Beneath it, Gervin Dempsey. Urashadze wearing 7 for Georgia. Perhaps the most natural kicker you've ever seen.
Great kick by Gervin Dempsey in the first, but that's what they call coffin corner. Gives Ireland a great opportunity. Georgia had nowhere to go. A poor kick. Dennis Hickey launches the counter-attack. Room on the short side. Ronan screaming for it down here.
And has it. But then delivered the pass to Rory Best that he couldn't cling on to. David Wallace picked it up, but the ball had gone forward.
Exactly what Eddie O'Sullivan's been talking about. They just seem anxious. They're so desperate to get the crowd involved, to score tries. Paul Wallace was talking about it before the game. Just too flat, just over-eager to get the ball in their hands. They wanted the ball quicker, but it doesn't. You have to be patient. It's called creeping death out in the back line. Every time you inch forward, you creep. It kills you as the game goes on. You're too flat to run onto the ball. The South Africans were sensational at it last night. Dupree just coming from depth. You maintain your depth, you'll cut sides to pieces.
Wayne Barnes unhappy with the setting of the scrum. We'll go down again. The yellow cards he had to issue in that bruising encounter between Bayonne and Ireland just 4 weeks ago. Samkaradze back to his half-back partner, Virakashvili. Dempsey. Horgan. Out on the fall.
Unforced errors, just keeping Georgia into the game, the crowd getting a bit irritable. That Bayonne game has got to be one of the great mysteries. not necessarily known for their discipline, Bayonne. And you send your first choice Irish team out 2 or 3 weeks before a World Cup. Tremendously risky procedure, almost cost them their talisman Brian O'Driscoll. Not sure what they'll have got out of that game.
For a long time it was thought unlikely that O'Driscoll would make the first game of this World Cup because of his facial injuries, a fractured sinus. But make it he did, and he scored a try. Felice with the throw at this line-out. Batted back to him by Zedganica.
Wonderful piece of volleyball.
Sam Karadze to Vidikashvili. Urashadze coming into the line. Zedganica, who is a lead by example, sort of a captain. Sam Karadze with the reverse pass to Urashadze. And Ireland respond this time. Vidikashvili. Shane Horgan. Eddie O'Sullivan very glad to welcome him back into the fold after injury this evening. Barkalaya. Gervin Dempsey. Just finds touch.
This staccato game, not a boot on ball at the moment, isn't it? Just trying to feel their way in. Someone's trying to get field position, territory, waiting for the opposition to make the mistakes. You expect that sort of game. You expect Ronan to grab it by the neck and really have pinpoint precision with his kick, and it's just not there at the moment. It's giving the Georgians confidence. I think they've made a mockery of the debate that says let's have less teams in the World Cup. I think the junior sides have contributed so much to a wonderful World Cup already. Portugal today, for 20 minutes in the second half against New Zealand, were absolutely brilliant. Scored a great try. The crowd celebrated as though they'd won it. They're all getting stuck in, these junior nations.
And is that credit to the IRB for providing some extra funding for them?
Very much so. I mean, it's a global game. I'm a big believer that 2011 should have gone to Japan if we want to spread the gospel of rugby. But it's, as I said, they've just flown in. The Irish couldn't believe the ferocity of the Namibians last week. You watched the Argentinians, you watched the way the Georgians were played against those guys, the Argentines, my apologies. Interesting that Ronan didn't go for the 3 points there. Gone to the corner. O'Connell, the pack leader, potentially call it to himself, get a big drive on, settle the nerves.
Rory Best surveying the scene. Taken by Easterby. And Ireland tried to set themselves for the drive. Encouraged vocally from the terraces by their many thousands of supporters. Georgia are meeting fire with fire. Stringer at the back. Thrust out of the way by David Wallace. And now clear ball for O'Gara. O'Driscoll. Gervin Dempsey. Dempsey tries to flick the pass out. Shane Horgan is waiting. O'Gara down by the bootlaces of Marcus Horan. Penalty.
I think the biggest difference we've noticed for the junior nations this year has been the defensive organisation. Again, there, Ireland, quick ball, going forward. O'Driscoll on the drift, tends to make breaks, tends to create space. The Georgians seem to cope with it very comfortably, and that's what's made the games, I think, a great deal more competitive. Just a little bit of organisation and defensive discipline keeps sides in the game a lot longer and gives them confidence to guard and attack. And again, Ireland turning down the chances of points in terms of the kick and going for the 7 points with the try.
Showing faith in their line-out. Rory Best to deliver. Rising high. O'Connell. Once more, Ireland try and put the power on. Just 2 or 3 metres out, and they've got some momentum this time. And they have the opening try. And Rory Best is the man who plunged over the line with the ball to put Ireland in front.
A well-organised drive. O'Connell called it to himself. The skipper, he pulled his mates around him. They drove forward, they stayed disciplined, they worked the ball to the back. They were in control the whole way. The Georgians, you can see, Zedganidze trying to drop it. All disorganised defensively. They'd split them, they'd broken them apart, and you just come through the middle. Stay focused, stay streamlined, stay on your feet, and keep driving through the middle. It's a well-taken try, and that'll just settle them down a little bit. They'll be glad to get on the scoreboard, they'll be glad to get a try underneath their belt. Gives Ronan an opportunity to have a kick and goal, and then they'll look. All good teams, they don't feel as though you've scored until you're back into the opposition half. Restarts are so important now. Georgia's tried a quick one from the opening kick-off. But Ireland will try to be solid, get back in Georgian territory and build from there.
So Ronan O'Gara, 6 metres in from touch. Given it a good chance, and Ireland lead by 7 points to 0.
Such a smooth kicking stroke when he's on song. Relaxed, composed, like a driving range for him. Shuts the crowd out, doesn't matter where he is. Olympic stadiums, Millennium stadiums, Croke Park, same routine, and so often the same result.
7th on the list of all-time point scorers in international rugby, Ronan O'Gara. A mistake by Dennis Leamy.
What we were just talking about is the initiative straight back to the Georgians. It's so infuriating. Eddie O'Sullivan extremely irritated by this. So many unforced errors in this first 20 minutes. Very unlike an O'Sullivan coach side.
Ireland causing problems at the scrum. It's picked up at the base by Chikaidze.
Recovered very well there. Scrum going back on skates. Picked it up, got them going forward again.
Samkaradze. It's time for the Shadze. Georgia again. Content to play as per stereotype, and Firikashvili with the drop goal attempt charged down by Easterby. Now here's Marcus Horan.
Lovely ball for a prop. Lovely ball. Opened it up, saw the space.
Brian O'Driscoll. Dennis Hickey. Ball was knocked on. There is an advantage here for Ireland. Now a penalty advantage. O'Gara. Those dancing feet couldn't take him anywhere that time, so we'll go back for the penalty.
Yeah, straight over the top. You test Wayne Barnes. The Georgians don't want to break the game up. They try and slow the Irish ball down, but you test the patience of the referee if you continue to infringe at the breakdown. The last thing Georgia need when they're being this competitive is to lose a man. But all stemmed from the charge down. They looked marginally offside, the Irish, but they played it. They played the referee well. They chased up on the kick. Firikashvili put a poor kick in under pressure, and Horan in a crowd had the wherewithal to stop, compose himself, find the space, find his captain O'Driscoll off. He set up the field and turned defence into attack very quickly.
So more kicking practice for a man who was here practicing for a good hour and a half yesterday, Ronan O'Gara. Ireland's record point scorer, the record point scorer in the Heineken Cup. They'll be looking to string on O'Gara to just
start pulling the strings of the Irish. They've been together, as you rightly said, so many times. I can't remember a time when the Irish team didn't seem to have Stringer O'Gara at half-back. Stringer's such a diminutive figure, belies his size. He was such a brave game. I remember him virtually winning a knocking us off for a Grand Slam in 2001 with a tap tackle on Dan Luger. For all the money in the world, Dan Luger was sailing away under the post, and Stringer found it within himself to track him down and tap tackle. Keith Wood did the damage with the try.
O'Gara's kick. Kvirikashvili. O'Gara beneath it. More depth on it, but straight to Barkalaya, who should have taken it. It's gone backwards. This time, no chances are taken. 3 more live games tomorrow from the Rugby World Cup, all on ITV4. From 12:30, we'll be in Cardiff for Fiji against Canada, followed by Samoa versus Tonga from Montpellier, and then the evening matches between the host France and Namibia down in the rugby heartland of Toulouse, and that's from 7:30. And don't forget our websites with all the latest World Cup news, itv.com/rugby. Untidy Ireland.
Story of the first 20 minutes, really, for Ireland. Very untidy. The restart was dropped by Leamy, who's been such a consistently quality performer for Ireland.
The right boot of O'Gara.
He likes that cross kick to Shane Horgan. He's a wonderful taker of the ball. I mean, he is 6'4" and plays on the wing, and he's about 17 stone. He's come back from his knee injury, and he's so good in the air. That cross kick has been so fruitful for Ireland, but he often works his way in field, Shane Horgan, does the hard yards in and around the fly half channel, looks for work alongside his wing partner Dennis Hickey.
This time it's Švelica, the Georgian line-out. Zedganica, and now the prop forward, Magrak Velidze. Samkaradze to Kvirikashvili. Irvin Dempsey. Was challenged by the centre Kasharava. And Georgia doing well here with Urashadze. And Ireland again looking very uncomfortable. Samkaradze. Švelica. Kvirikashvili. That's Gogodze. There's no fear at all in the Georgian game. No holding back is their motto.
All came from that kick. A kick's only as good as you chase, and Kasharava did very well to turn the ball and win the war back again. And that's got them going forward again, and Ireland's just struggling to cope at a moment with the just sheer physical weight and bulk of the Georgians coming through.
Kvirikashvili will try again with the drop goal attempts. Which was close, but not close enough. Let's get a view from the studio. Paul Wallace, the former Ireland forward, is watching this. Paul, what have you made of the opening 25 minutes from an Irish perspective?
Yeah, Ireland will be very disappointed. They've set out in this game to try and be error-free. Those simple errors are just creeping into the Irish game, as we've seen in the last 2 matches they've played. Credit to Georgia. They've been very good and hold on to the ball very well. But Ireland, they have the opportunities. They've got to iron out all these mistakes.
There's just no ball control at the moment. Just no ball control. As soon as they get it, Ireland, they seem to make a mistake, make an error, poor kick, give the ball back to the Georgians. At the moment, they seem to be very happy to keep hold of the ball, using their big runners. Scrum halves orchestrating things extremely well.
As he does again, Kvirikashvili.
Any number of Georgians queuing up to charge into this green wall, all enjoying this World Cup experience and Big changes from the Argentine game. They've come in, they've got their opportunity. Everyone wants to play against Namibia on the 26th of September. They feel Georgia, they feel that they can win a World Cup game. That's what this tournament's all about. And they're playing for places. The competition is fantastic for a side.
Virikashvili's kick. Georgia have never won a game at a Rugby World Cup. It's only their second visit. They lost all 4 of their matches in Australia in 2003. It's a better kick.
Often adds that Denisicki with his left foot, just gives them the variety. Very intelligent man, Denisicki. I know they've got this thing going on in the Irish camp at the moment. Ask Toynts, the kicking coach, or Taint, sorry, Paul Tainton. A question is asked him and he has to come up with an answer, and he had to have the 5 differences between Islam and Christianity last week, and then he had to get the 11 zodiac signs of the Manchester United team in the European Champions League final. All sorts of interesting pieces of information that fill bus rides on rugby tours.
You presumably would be better on the zodiac signs of the Manchester City team.
Well, talking to Georgia, King Clancy, the king, one of Main Road's greats. Probably too good for Main Road.
He was a waif, physically speaking, and the 3 lightest players at this World Cup are all Georgian. Wayne Barnes wants words. This is it.
Oh yeah, a little stamp from Leamy. Loss of temper, loss of discipline. Referees in this tournament being told any use of the boot must be punished heavily. Interesting to see what his opinion of this is.
Okay, you get your players on side and discipline at the tackle. First penalty against you, and then reverse.
Didn't feel the need for a yellow card, but definitely felt the need to reverse the penalty. Ireland had the penalty. Use of the boot turns it round, gifts the ball back to Georgia. Just when Ireland seem to be getting a foothold in Georgian territory.
Captain Zerkanidze summoned his forces together. Delivered a lecture. Very impressive figure, the Georgian captain, fluent in 5 languages. Heading for a career in the diplomatic service.
Good second row in the diplomatic service. Not sure Martin Johnson would ever have qualified for ambassadorial work. Peacekeeping envoy. Fire starter, maybe.
I'm sure you remember them all by face and by name, Will, but you did play against 6 of these men in Perth 4 years ago.
Yeah, kept in touch with most of them, learning their language. You've got their alphabet, of course, the Georgians. Don't ask me what it is.
Certainly been a stumbling block to trying to research them.
Down the middle, I've got a line to watch. Crouch.
Stuart Barnes was keen to tell me it was the wine was discovered here.
Both blocks went in.
If you can discover wine.
Well, they brought with them a posh West End PR company who've issued various press releases trying to persuade us that Georgia has the fastest growing economy in Western Europe. Moot point whether they're in Western Europe.
What they are in is in this game.
Very much so.
Good attacking platform here. Left-hand side scrums. A Georgian scrum half will find himself on this side, on the near side, so out of the defensive system. You can see Gervin Dempsey. You might not see him at the moment. He's in the attacking line. Hickey's in and around the fly half. So they have numbers to start. And Leamy, if you can get quick ball, they should look to launch something off the base here.
With Stringer, O'Gara, O'Driscoll with that change of pace. Still couldn't get clear. This time Paul O'Connell. Ronan O'Gara. O'Driscoll looks right, passes left. David Wallace. Wallace needs support. Couldn't offload the ball, but O'Driscoll was quickly at the scene of the breakdown. Stringer, Shane Horgan. O'Gara. Donica O'Callaghan.
if this comes back quickly, they have numbers on the short side.
Stringer to O'Gara. Chip kick through. Marcus Horan was lurking. And Skinnin did his best to escape, but there was no way out.
Yeah, Wallace out in the outside channel, scores so many tries from the back row. Did well, big clean out from O'Driscoll, physical centre. The ball came back wide, O'Gara just threaded it in behind. Skinnin did extremely well just to tidy up, but couldn't work his way out. Hickey puts in the good tackle. Gives Ireland a wonderful opportunity now, 5-yard scrum. After the dominant scrum we saw early on in Irish territory, again they look to crank up the pressure, crank up the heat on the Georgian 8 in the set piece. Much more of a club side Ireland in terms of the length of time they spend together. All the international sides now do spend so much time together. Not like the old days when you turn up on a Wednesday, have a little chat, go for steak and chips. Now you're spent together 3-4 months of the year, all focused around the Six Nations, building towards World Cups, autumn internationals. O'Driscoll, I see, has re-signed with Ireland up to the next World Cup, and that he potentially wanted to play abroad, but he'll see himself now as 20 games a year, stay fresh, get to New Zealand in 2011. So many other countries of the Southern Hemisphere losing their players, coming up north post the World Cup. I mean, Toulon, you've got Matfield, Anton Oliver, George Gregan, Andrew Mertens has gone down there.
Who do you think is going to win the second division title in France then this coming season?
I don't know, but the Toulon mayor's pocket must be pretty deep.
Stringer with the put-in. Controlling at the back is Leamy, who picks up and is met by an obdurate wall of Georgian forwards. O'Connell. Ball to ground, Marcus Horan burrows in. Georgia are not the sort ever to take a backward step. It's not in their nature, and they turned it over.
And they won the penalty. Tremendous defence by the Georgia. The Irish front row will be livid. Great scrum, walking forward, nothing other than a try. And the ball just pops out the back of Dennis Leamy's feet, breaks the whole procession up, allows Georgia to regroup. They defend their line with their lives, turn them over, and another missed opportunity, again down to the basic errors.
Turnovers became a big issue for Ireland in the Namibia game. They conceded 39 of them, which is twice their average.
And again, just popped out. Just popped out. Ireland, they haven't got long at half-time because, as you said, it's a 4-minute walk back to tunnel. Chatting to the guys, it's 4 minutes to get there. They can have 2 minutes and the referee will knock and say, right, back out on the field again, lads. You have to be very precise with their direction, and the chat at half-time from Eddie O'Sullivan, I'm sure it'll focus on nothing other than, guys, we've talked about this all week. To cut out the errors, maintain ball control, move this big Georgian team around, be strong in the breakdown, kick well, don't give passes unless it's 100%. They're breaking their own rules at the moment and making very tough work of it so far.
Georgia forced into making a change with Zedganita, the captain, off the field at the moment. Datunashvili, number 18 there, is on. It is Virakashvili. Pouched by Horgan. Gervin Dempsey. Dennis Hickey. O'Driscoll scything through this time. Pops it out for Hickey, but Hickey had departed that station. Ball was knocked forward by Ireland. Sam Karadzi's box kick.
Maisaradze, the Georgian blindside. What a tackle on Brian O'Driscoll. They moved the ball away. They saw the Georgians were short in numbers. Hickey put on the pace, stretched the defence. O'Driscoll timed his run nicely, went back on the scissors, find some space, mown down by the back row forward. Tried to throw the 50-50 ball, turned over.
Bring him straight on, bring him straight on.
Well, sadly, the fullback of Georgia, Otar Bakalaya, appears to be hamstrung. And so Irakli Makoneli, wearing 21, is coming on.
McAnally, didn't he cause some damage against the Argentines? Big lump. Backed himself to come in and make the hit and shut down opportunities for the Argentines when they looked in trouble. Murray Mexter's player of the tournament, I think, so far.
May change.
I'd be very surprised if it wasn't a Kiwi, knowing how Murray.
Gordon Darcy.
A nice foil, Darcy, isn't he? Driscoll gets all the plaudits. Darcy goes about his business a lot, quite a player of the year a couple of years ago in the Six Nations.
Used to be. Trying to present it to Horan. There's a knock on. Zverekashvili.
You know exactly where this is going.
It's a simple game plan, but it's mighty effective for Georgia in this first half so far.
That's a big kick with Denisov's left foot. A big kick. Up against the touchline with a left foot, so working against him. Great hands from O'Callaghan. Not just a big lump, he's like all modern second rows, Ali Williams, Chris Jack, Victor Matfield, comfortable with the ball in their hands. So much more effective sometimes, simply than running over a bloke. Shift the point of focus, shift the point of contact before the tackle's made.
It's only at this point of their robust effort against Argentina. Parity was lost by Georgia. Indeed, they didn't concede a try in that game in Lyon until the 47th minute. But here, chance for Ireland with Brian O'Driscoll. And now Shane Horgan. Horgan to within 5 metres of the Georgian line. Ball was out. And so Italy, Ireland have lost it. And Georgia coming down the short side. A kick and a regather over halfway. And now it's Elis Barashvili.
Wonderful counter-attack.
Samkaradze. Advantage here for Georgia being played. Shvelidze.
Turnover ball just kills you in international rugby. We saw that last night with the English. Dupree always looking to turn it into tries. Horgan at the right-hand side, the Irish Lomu. Turned over in the corner. I think was it the winger Shkinin who set off up the field.
Deliberate and cynical.
David Wallace, 10 minutes in the bin.
Cynical play. Sense danger. And like all good open sides often will say, well, I'll cancel the 7, I'll offer them 3 and hope to get away with it. They play to a very fine line, the back row forwards. But he showed great pace up that wing, outstretched the defence. Little chip, little regather. Elis Barashvili had chased up from the other side, from the other wing, supporting well. He sensed danger. Paul O'Connell never had a chance there. Great little touch and regather. He might just get an opportunity to see exactly what Wallace does. He made the tackle. He'll say, potentially, I made the tackle, I can get up and play it. Wayne Barnes saw it differently. Sometimes confuses new watchers to the sport. There is grey areas in terms of referees' interpretation of the breakdown. Did you come in from the hindmost foot? Or did you just come in from the side? They talk about the pillars. He's actually done it for slapping the ball down as the scrum half tried to move the ball away. Just breaking up the play.
This is eminently kickable for Merab Zverekashvili. Georgia are on the board.
And the crowd applaud. Delighted to see them in this game at 7-3 approaching half-time. Probably can't come fast enough, Eddie O'Sullivan, to get his troops in the tunnel, get them back in the changing room. Very calm man, Eddie O'Sullivan, but you would expect a potential hairdryer treatment this evening.
Normally under
demonstrative.
Doesn't necessarily hold for tonight. This is Chaidza.
Thank you. Merci.
Georgia only 17th in the IRB rankings. Firikashvili. Dennis Hickey.
Met by a white wall. Look at the enthusiasm in the defence. The Georgians are loving this. They know they've got the Irish rattles.
Why wouldn't they love it? O'Gara.
Not a great kick. Not a great kick.
Firikashvili.
Helps when the opposition do that though.
Same description applies. Not a great kick.
Great to see the Irish go for top in one of these lineouts. They've had the opportunities. They've taken on up front. They've muscled it out. We're not talking about triple salco through burning hoops in the back line, but we're talking about getting the ball wide, moving it, trying to shift the Georgian defence. At the moment, they're just being met by a big white blanket when they try and go through the middle.
To put this in some sort of perspective, Ireland have played Georgia twice before. They've won 70-0 and 63-14. Stringer. O'Gara. Horgan. Coming in field, desirous of work. Leamy. Stringer. Now O'Driscoll. And two outside him. Now has Gervin Dempsey just behind him, but the ball was knocked forwards.
I'm looking across, I'm seeing Niall Woods, who played many times for Ireland, head in hands. He cannot believe what the Irish are doing, how they're just shooting themselves in the foot by their lack of control, their lack of composure. For a team with 8,000 caps, who've been around together for so long and seen so many big games, it's very strange to see them so rattled. And a fantastic scrum by the Georgians.
Not just steady, but advancing, pushing Ireland back. Georgia putting on the power right through to the end of this first half, in which they've been hugely impressive in their own way. Certainly have caught the eye much more than Ireland's palsied efforts.
It's a no-nonsense effort, is it? We've got the ball, we're going to keep it when we have it, and you're in front of us, we'll kick it up in the air. If you catch it, we'll try and smack you and turn it over. We'll chase hard, we'll work hard for each other.
We'll have the thoughts very shortly of Messrs Castagnede and Wallace in the studio. That should be half-time. It is, and instead of getting better, Ireland seem to be getting worse. Half-time in Bordeaux. Almost unbelievably, Ireland 7, Georgia 3.
Don't panic. The Irish need at least 3 more tries. The Georgians, they like that Bordeaux air. They have stayed out there ready for the second half. Brilliant stadium, brilliant atmosphere. The Irish will need all that support and some. Let's rejoin our commentators, Will Greenwood and John Champion.
Yes, the setting is fine. The performance is far from it for Ireland. Backed by perhaps 80% of the spectators inside this Stade Chabin Delmar. And Will Greenwood, you, as the boys in the studios did, picked up very quickly on the fact that the Georgian players stayed out there and avoided the long walk back to the dressing room.
Seemed very sensible. They stayed out there. The refreshment, the rehydration process took place on the field. Not sure they needed a change of shirt. They just wanted to get on with it. The captain, the new standing captain, Shvelidze, spoke forcefully. You could see the passion behind him, talking to his groups. He had feel they're in this game. They were disappointed the way they fell away against the Argentines, being right in at half-time, and they won't want to repeat that performance. And by staying out there, they just rested up, avoided the sort of 8-minute, 4-minute there, 4-minute back. The Irish looked like the marathon runners re-entering the stadium after a long walk, a long run. And it's now whether the Georgians can maintain the intensity they've showed, and for the Irish, where they can maintain ball control. They just haven't had any for any length of time in the first half.
Leading through Rory Best's converted try against a Firikashvili penalty for Georgia. And the Georgians who've lost their regular fullback, Barkalaya, it's Ujukashvili who clears. Ireland will want to stamp their mark on this game early in this second period. Shane Horgan straightening up. Donica O'Callaghan. O'Connell driving forward, Hickey waiting. Horgan. Trying to get the pass back to Stringer. Stringer who kicks.
With a one-man chase with 5 Georgians there. Interesting choice of kick.
Skinnin bringing it away. And finding Gorgodza.
If in doubt, give it to Gorgodza. He is not being moved or giving the ball away.
Sounds the part as well, Gorgodza.
Yeah, Stringer, they had the possession, the numbers were stacked on the left-hand side. He saw his capture on the right-hand side, he put the chip in behind, and there were 4 Georgians waiting. Poor choice of kick, poor execution. The malaise continues. Flanker not David Wallace, not long to go in his sin binning, sitting patiently.
Crouch.
Like the naughty boys chair at school, don't sit in the corner with a D on your head.
Repent at leisure. Georgian penalty.
Again, the 7-man Irish scrum has struggled to cope with Georgia. They'll be delighted the way that's gone and they've used their advantage. It's great to have a chat with Paul Wallace at some stage and just find out exactly what's going on in the front row, but they're getting the big hit, the early drive. And Ireland just sluggishly going through this line. All the home nations, they seem Welsh start, they've finished well, but just everyone seems so lethargic from the home nations so far. There's been a lack of passion, and rugby is a very technical game, but at the heart of it is just desire to win the 50-50 ball. Martin Johnson talked about last night with South Africa. The desire to win that loose ball, the desire to work for each other. And the home nations so far are lacking in that department.
Is it the timing of this competition that goes against the Northern Hemisphere nations?
No, not at all. I think they've all had a long summer. Potentially you might look at the England tour to South Africa, but hardly any of those guys that made the final squad. It was like a 3rd or 4th team with the Heineken Cup final going on. No, they've plenty of years. They've 3 years to plan their summer. They're all happy with the way things went. They were talked it up. They all said they were bigger, faster, fitter, stronger.
You might have hit the nail on the head there.
They're all delighted with their preparation. Have no complaints there, and they've just all hit the ground and find themselves stuck in 2nd or 3rd gear, whilst the other nations, the Southern Hemisphere, the Argentines, the smaller nations have just come out like caged lions, ferocious, wanting to grasp this World Cup.
Leamy picks up. Stringer. Darcy up to halfway.
Kasharava's had a great defensive game. There he is again. He's made the tackle on Darcy, gets back up.
Hickey. Stringer. O'Gara. Horgan. Horgan spots half a gap. Offloads well to Gordon Darcy.
That's what Horgan does so well. He's such a big, tall man. He can get in behind and offload well. Well organised. Georgia reacted well.
Sluggish ball.
Oh!
An interception! And this could be the ultimate embarrassment. It's Georgi Skinnin going 2/3 of the length of the Bordeaux pitch and touching down, and Georgia lead Ireland.
Sending the telegram that the ball was coming. It was so slow. It was so wind up. Skinnin came from the next postcode. He saw it. He backed himself. He set off. Beautifully timed pass into the Georgian breadbasket. Hickey tried his best to chase him down, but Skinnin, who did the run out of defence in the first half, had almost set up the Irish try, backed himself again. Big words from O'Driscoll under the post. Here it comes. Stringer stood, planted, delivered, slow. O'Driscoll tries to get to it. You can see O'Driscoll in the background there screaming at Stringer. Off phase play, the receivers have been static and slow when you compare that to Dupree, to James, to Gitto, to Carter, to guys running onto the ball. Shvelidze urging his troops back, knowing how important this restart is.
It's only the second time that Georgia have ever scored a try at the Rugby World Cup. And that's a remarkable scoreline. Now it is a real test of Ireland and their apparently shaky temperaments, and who knows what the mood amongst them is like right now. Odrinashvili just getting the kick away.
Will the urgency come now? It has to.
It's now or never. O'Gara looking for the corner. Finding it.
Classic O'Gara. That's just what they need. An opportunity now for O'Connell and O'Callaghan to get lifted high in the air, to put pressure on the Georgian line out. They'll look to turn this over. Great kick. Didn't need to chase the game run. He understands that. He's been around long enough. Get some territory. They had no territory in the first half. Had hardly any possession.
Ireland grateful that Wallace has now returned, despite that yellow block on your screen still. Right on cue. So Ireland seeking to challenge. Securely taken by Urashadze though. There's a whack in the eye too for Kopoliani, who's down on his haunches, looking a bit groggy for Georgia.
First sign of an increase of heart rate from the scrum half there. Sam Karadze had a little bit more time to make the box kick. Instead, he just hooked it over his shoulder. Gives possession back to the Irish. The huddle there, O'Connell will be in the heart of that. They'll be making the call as the substitutes arrive on the field. Reinforcements for the Georgians. Fresh legs.
Well, let's get the touchline perspective. We can bring in Gabriel Clark. Gabriel.
An orange you should expect, but an apple apparently. A few of the players like an apple, and that's what they were eating at half-time.
Bit of old school. Bit of old school. Sliced oranges in my day.
Ireland with a much more bitter taste in their mouths at the moment. Look at Georgia again. Disrupting, causing consternation and discomfort, and no small measure of embarrassment, and that'll be a Georgian penalty.
Oh, no. O'Connell furious with O'Callaghan in the background. Again, the senior players, we've seen O'Driscoll's anger at the pass from Stringer. We've seen O'Connell getting cross with his second row partner. These are the times when you're down. These are the times when you find out once your bonding, your teamwork has gone. You've been together along. But look at that, what's he thinking? What is he thinking? Yes, counter up, yes, compete, but you just can't dive straight over the top. Just gives the ball to Georgia, lets them relieve pressure without any hard work. Shvelidze there, who came through and nicked the line out, nicked the tap down, that 50-50 ball we've talked about. So hungry.
Well, that's Kopoliani, who got a whack on the head. And Jogadze. Throw at the line out. Shvelidze, who's wearing number 2 and has been hooking, can move into one of the prop forward positions, and looks likely he will do so.
Now, palm of the hand, rather. Where's the use of the boot? He's in the bottom, just collapsing it. You take your chances if you try and collapse them all.
Yeah, right. Okay,
just slap the player, sorry.
Yeah.
Slap the player.
With his hand?
With his hand.
Yeah.
And then 7 wide.
Judge Wright is saying is the flat of the palm.
Okay, so it's going to be a penalty against White. For the slap, it's just a penalty.
Just a penalty.
What about the white foot on body?
It's a penalty. I wouldn't have.
So it's just a penalty, thank you. Captain, please. It's going to be a penalty to Green, okay? Captain and his player.
The Antipodean touch judge.
We spoke about retaliation there with the player standing on feet. That's the same. I'll deal with discipline. Slap and then a tread. So the penalty is against White. No more, please, okay? Slap.
No, we tried not to stop.
You cannot stand on the player on the floor, okay? You cannot stand the player on the floor. Back 10, please.
In the absence of the injured captain Urashadze, the only member of the Georgian side that speaks English. Eloshvili, number 22, is going to come on very shortly. Utility back. Maybe. That could be a turning point for Ireland.
Big line out here. Been turned over on the previous one in Georgian territory. They must be solid. Irish backline very flat. They might be going to Horgan. Oh, brilliant.
And down
move.
to Wallace, into space. David Wallace over the 22 for Ireland. Quick ball for the Irish too, through the hands of O'Gara, Gordon Darcy, Brian O'Driscoll, Gervin Dempsey. Dempsey brought down 6 metres out. Stringer the other way this time, to Paul O'Connell.
That's a big run.
This is more like it. More of a rampage from Ireland. Through the hands, out to Gervin Dempsey, who maybe was taken a little high, referee unconcerned. It's play on with Stringer. O'Callaghan. And Georgia fighting with their lives, their hearts, all their spirit. Shane Horgan, Brian O'Driscoll, ball went forward.
And again, the frustration. You're looking out in the backs. Gordon Darcy throwing his hands down. The defence, Urukashvili got in on the short side. You thought they were in, the Irish. He came from nowhere. He covered around the back. There he appears, making the hit. He'd come from the other side of the ruck, defending their line with everything, and then the forward pass, the interplay between O'Driscoll and Horgan, so often resulting in tries. On this occasion, the pressure, the defensive line held and forced the error. The longer this clock ticks on, the more self-belief the Georgians will get.
Still on me.
Georgia taking casualties on board. Smakaneli plunges on it.
Number 11.
They are stood onside.
Wayward ball back to Urukashvili. He's got a boot on him, all right.
Look at the line, look at the chase from the Georgians up the middle.
Shane Horgan, back to Gervin Dempsey.
The number 8 has run 70 metres to put pressure on the kickback from Dempsey.
Kvirikashvili.
And he has absolutely boomed that one.
There was no mistake who the neutrals in this crowd are supporting.
As the confidence grows in the first try, Kvirikashvili nudged a couple tentatively off the side of the boot there with time, 10-7 up. A conversion and a penalty under his belt. Set himself. Ireland playing, the backline is still retreating, the ball's tapped down. Another try here, and Ireland are seriously struggling to come back.
6 green, thank you. Back you go now, back you go.
Georgia disruptive.
Good God's is showing O'Callaghan how to counter ruck. Staying on his feet, going through the middle.
O'Gara's kick and the quick line out to Shkinin, scorer of the interception try.
Every yard gained, cheered by the crowd.
There's a grim fascination to this. Ireland with all the pedigree and all the hope. And let's face it, all the talent when they put it together with the established combinations. Horgan goes back, being pressurised by Shkinin. Now, which is the established world rugby force here and which is the emerging nation?
Sam Karadze saw the space in behind, put it on his left foot. Shane Horgan couldn't get back in time, and there's Shkinin. Try score, he's been magnificent.
And Datunashvili, whilst 2 of his teammates receive treatment, urging the crowd to give them more support.
As the Irish simply sit in stunned silence, unbelieving of what's happening in front of them. I cannot believe this team that's won triple crowns aplenty over the past few years has turned over some of the biggest nations in the world. But has occasionally struggled on the road, is now finding itself in Bordeaux on the wrong end of a 10-7 scoreline to Georgia, who changed 11 players from the team against the Argentines with a view to winning against Namibia. Surely not in their wildest dreams could they believe at this stage this game against Ireland was theirs for the taking.
Change at hooker. Jerry Flannery comes on for Rory Best for Ireland. And the other 6 available replacements are busy sprinting up and down the touchline in readiness to be sent into the fray.
And you can sense a sense of confusion. Best there thought he was going back on. He'd had his treatment, he was head towards the line. Couldn't believe it. I'm all right, ref, I'm all right. No, your card's been held up. Off you go. Flannery couldn't get on quick enough.
Jogadze at the Georgian lineouts, but it's overthrown. And Ireland bring it clear with David Wallace.
Advantage.
Ireland with an advantage. Kick is by O'Driscoll. Chase was sedate.
Oh, magnificent. Magnificent. Because they'll be so disappointed. They had that line out on the Irish line. O'Connell and O'Callaghan did extremely well. They gave them no shot, they gave them no target. In the end, the hooker, knowing the referee would penalise him if he didn't get the ball in quickly, just tossed it in, flew over the top of everyone. David Wallace sensed the chance, set off upfield, but the pass again from O'Gara to O'Driscoll, not in front of the man, to the man. Stops the runner, put it in front of him, put it in the space.
Stringer to O'Gara.
Oh, huge hole, huge hole.
Now, possibilities for Gordon Darcy. David Wallace at his shoulder. And Ireland sense the possibility of regaining the lead in this game. O'Driscoll, Horgan, through the hands of Flannery to Gervin Dempsey, who escapes and scores for Ireland to relief right around this stadium in Bordeaux.
The Georgian organisation defence just worked. Kiriakashvili, the fly half, wasn't there for that line-out. They didn't adjust well at all. Darcy just coasted through the simple early ball. Wallace, as he always is, on support on the inside shoulder. The quick ball came back. Flannery, brilliant hands from the replacement hooker. Dempsey, not the biggest man in the world, and a mistake from Sam Karadze, misses the tackle. Suddenly Ireland find themselves in front in a game perhaps you feel they shouldn't be. The Georgians are beginning to tire. Can the Irish ram this advantage home?
Gervin Dempsey in front of relieved faces clad in the green of Ireland. There's been disbelief in the air this evening. Now Ireland need to show belief. Ronan O'Gara adds on the 2 extra points for the conversion. Now Paul Wallace is sitting, I don't know whether he shares in the general disbelief in our London studio. Paul, what do you make of it so far, to coin a phrase?
Yeah, well, I think that try might have just saved Ireland. They seem to be panicking. We had O'Driscoll shouting at Stringer. We had Paul O'Connell shouting at Donegal O'Callaghan when it really needed, cool heads. I think that try might settle Ireland. There's still enough time on the clock to get that bonus point, but what they need to do is concentrate in this kick-off, get down there and just start, get ahead and stay ahead and just start building it without trying to force it. Just play the simple rugby, get down there, and when they get the opportunities, the Georgians are getting tired, and then look for the space.
What was Paul Wallace just saying? What was he saying? Gordon Darcy's claimed that as he passed, that Karasharava knocked it down. Wayne Barnes saying no, the initial movement of the pass was forward. That came, Kvirikashvili was slow into the line. Ireland spotted the opportunity, but again, the defence from the number 12, sensational evening against 2 world-class centres.
And pause. Crouch.
Expect a big man to try and run down O'Gara's channel here.
Ball's gone.
Georgia with Datunashvili. This performance coming from a team representing a country with just 8 rugby pitches and 300 registered rugby players.
Staggering performance. Staggering performance.
It does help that so many of them play in French club rugby. In fact, there are more French-based players in the Georgian squad than there are in the French squad.
Yeah, had to be a turnover there. Had to be a turnover. Poor position in the tackle. Good defensive work. Turned him round.
What's that, number 6? Number 6 replacement.
Ilya Maisaradze being replaced by no relation, Zviad Maisaradze.
The 6th, Mazaradze, the one departing the field, has had a wonderful game. His tackle, his cover, they hug each other as he heads off the field. Asked and given everything to his team.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage.
Georgia's such a powerful unit, but this is Stringer.
He's had to kick it off sideways. The pressure coming on from the scrum.
It went 90.
Ball popped
Ball
out.
had already gone from 8 before.
Again, you just see that the panic measures that Stringer had more time. He could have shifted it away. There was no pressure on O'Gara. Someone else in a better position could have made the kick. But when it's not going well for you, you look to the safety of the touchline. But the Georgians will slow it down. They know they only need 1 score. They'll just focus on territory at the moment and patience.
Jogadze. And Georgia asking so many questions of Ireland, and Ireland haven't got many answers.
There's the ball. 5, that's 5.
And so the arm wrestle begins again. Yard by yard, inch by inch. McAnally, the outside centre channel, is in the sprinters' starting blocks. If this comes out, he is shifting.
It needs to be delivered to him. Georgia content to keep it tight. And they're getting plenty of joy in that regard too. Still they drive. And Ireland will have to put in.
They knew it was coming. Eddie O'Sullivan's talked all week about hand-to-hand combat. They've got in the darkness of the close and the tight spaces, and they're happy to take this Irish team on. They feel they've got the beating of them up front. There's all sorts of meetings going on with Ireland. They almost need less meetings. They need some of their big players to get hold of this ball and lead them.
One thing I would say, Will, is that Georgia are in danger of running out of players.
Yeah, the effort they gave against the Argentines, the effort they've given tonight, just starting to take its toll. They're all dropping, they'll be cramped. There might be an element of gamesmanship, there might be an element of just slowing it down. Let's stay down here.
How big a scrum can Georgia manage here? Leamy picks up for Ireland.
Oh.
And then loses the ball to Skinnin. They'll go back for the first knock-on. Georgian put in.
Saw the opportunity, had the ball in one hand. The great tackle, slapped it out of his hands. Poor ball control. Dennis has not had one of his better games at number 8. Been such a consistent performer here. Just slapped down.
Crouch, touch, pause, engage, middle. 9 onside.
Samkaradze. Datunashvili.
The other thing that will frustrate, of course, the Irish, they know how important this bonus point is, and the longer it takes, Kvirikashvili's dropped for the drop goal.
It is Kvirikashvili.
Second one just wide. But expect a couple more of those in the closing stages to try and get them back within one score.
Georgia at the moment on course to win their first World Cup point.
Will Ireland concede possession and go long, or will they try and regather and make it a competitive restart? England last night kept going long, kept gifting possession back to South Africa. Ireland change of tack, knowing how important it is to get their hands back on the ball.
O'Connell challenged for it.
And the 50-50 ball swept up by the Georgians again.
Well, whatever happens from here on in, it's a landmark night for Georgian rugby.
He's been warming up for about 15 minutes. It finally came. Good defence. They'll use the short side as their friend.
Kvirikashvili. Lots of people thought they were good against Argentina. Everybody will think they've been good this evening.
Yeah, I suppose there's a danger of us talking about how bad Ireland have been and perhaps not giving Georgia the credit that they deserve. They've been brave, they've been courageous, they've had the simple game plan, they've stuck to it, they've competed for everything, they've charged for everything, they've made bad kicks into good kicks.
And Ireland's much vaunted three-quarter line hasn't had much of a chance to strut its collective stuff. Hickey's boot.
Been sterile tonight, just had no attacking prowess, no thrust.
Jukashvili. Here's a check on tomorrow's rugby schedule. There are 3 more live games. From 12:30, Fiji against Canada, followed by Samoa versus Tonga, and then the evening kickoff from Toulouse, France against Namibia. Coverage from 7:30. All 3 of those games will be on ITV4.
I've been to Toulouse for the France game, another Northern Hemisphere giants. Can you believe the home nation lost their home game on opening night? They are under pressure. Huge changes from the French team.
No team has ever gone on to win the Rugby World Cup having lost in the pool stages. Stringer. O'Gara, neat footwork, it needed to be.
Mashkinelli saw a rib cage. He likes rib cages.
One man stole.
Leamy.
It's a penalty. It's a penalty. Or even a turnover. Didn't need the penalty. I'll just have it. Thank you very much.
Another turnover conceded by Ireland. And then wasted by Georgia.
Yeah, they've had a couple of turnovers recently, Georgia. They've just snatched at it. They've done well. They've made the initial turnover. Then's the time for cool heads. Almost tackled Mashkinelli. So keen to get involved. He's come in and tried to support his man going into the contact and smashed the ball out of his hand. Puma will be a front row call for the forwards. There'll be a solid scrum. Try and keep it straight. Give them a platform. Give them a launching pad. That's a better pass. Invited him onto it.
Darcy. Stringer.
Again, in front of the man.
O'Gara to Horgan to Dempsey. Hickey was waiting patiently outside him. Back it comes with O'Gara. O'Driscoll. Big John Hayes protecting it for Stringer. Well held by Horgan.
See what poor precision can do. It just takes the momentum out of a move.
Turnover ball again.
Someone will boot it downfield any second now.
Samkaradze. Georgia continue to shock and surprise.
Watch stop, people going down like flies in backfield. Is that O'Driscoll?
It is.
Cameron Steele, the Irish physio, and Gary O'Driscoll, his doctor, the Lions doctor, Stonyhurst educated.
Like someone else.
junior school. Ian Bolshaw as well, Kieran Bracken. Guy used to be at Ampleforth. Gary O'Driscoll, top doctor. Cameron still great physio. They'll be aware how important it is to keep O'Driscoll on this field. They need his leadership, his know-how, his ability to close out games and make something out of nothing.
O'Gara. Urjukashvili. How about that?
Huge amounts of space. The Irish backfield covering very poorly indeed then from the kick downfield. Gets a fraction of luck. He didn't kick it as well as he wanted. Sometimes they pop up on the second bounce and invite the fullback onto it. That kept low and low and low and dribbled and went on. Puts pressure on Flannery now. So I think you're going into the last 15 minutes of a test match between Ireland and Georgia, and there's 4 points in it.
Would have been inconceivable before the start of this game, and certainly before the start of this tournament.
Here, Wayne Barnes talking about Gorgodze. They're going through the gate. We talked about it earlier. He's counter-rucking from the giant Georgian, who've been fantastic all evening.
And even if Ireland win tonight, it's going to be another of those victories that'll feel like a defeat.
Oh, certainly will. Certainly will. To go into the French game and then the Argentina game the week after on the back of a poor result against Namibia, and so far a terrible performance against the Georgians. Lack of composure, lack of ball control, lack of discipline, poor kicking game.
Sam Karadze. Now it's Maisaradze. Ireland have made a change in the front row. John Hayes has gone off. Simon Best is on. This pick and drive that Georgia have used to such effect. Kinchakashvili.
Hands away, Green!
Maisaradze.
Shakinin scored the interception try, now he wants another one through a driving maul. He's in the middle of it.
Inching closer to the Ireland line. And Ireland expected to be playing most of the game at the other end of the pitch. Closer still. And they drive for the line. Right up to the line. Datunashvili.
Turn them over. They turned him over.
Ireland think they've turned it over. And they have.
But run the clock back, because Georgia will just do exactly the same that they've just done. They can secure possession of the line out. They will drive. They will sap the Irish energy. Got within inches there of a try that could have robbed them and could have won the game. They've taken a quick line out.
Ireland also changing their scrum half. Isaac Voss, the man from Waikato, replaces Peter Stringer.
Just Peter Stringer hasn't had any sort of platform today to release his backs, hasn't had any sort of options in terms of the runners. They've been smashed backwards in the tackle. He's been digging the ball out. It's been a nightmare ride for the Irish scrum half.
The possession here a bonus for Ireland.
And the thing is, Ireland can't go chasing a bonus point here. They need to close the game out. They can't go from too deep.
They need 2 more tries for a bonus point. Argentina only achieved it with the last move of the match.
I think at this stage they're going to be relieved to get off the field with a victory, never mind a 5-point and a bonus point.
Giogadze. That man mountain, Gorgodze, gathers it in. Sam Karadze. Kvirakashvili. Takes 3 Irishmen to make the tackle.
And still made the yard. Well, that's forward, isn't it?
Apparently not. Gorgodze. Sankaradze to Kvirikashvili. Shvelidze. Well, this is a Herculean effort from Georgia.
Oh, a long-range drop goal.
From some considerable distance, but Jukashvili made reasonable contact. It was always left of the post, though.
And again, Ireland now have to try and regather this restart. They'll look to kick left. The Georgians there, really, a real sense of urgency from the Georgians. They're sniffing an unbelievable upset.
Well, it would rank right up there with the greatest of World Cup shocks down the years, were Georgia to regain the lead and hold on to it. The very fact that they did lead in this game for a full 15 minutes will be enough to write a new chapter in their relatively brief rugby history.
Mazaradze has just taken off where his namesake left off.
Sankaradze, Kvirikashvili. Now it's Makanele. And half a break by Urashadze.
Look at the runners lining up.
Kvirikashvili. Datunashvili. They just love the physical aspect of the game.
I wonder what the statistics are for possession.
Oh, Sankaradze knocked it forward.
Right,
Old man's leg.
they've had all the ball. Ireland just can't get hold of it.
And this collection of players from the lower divisions of French club rugby, places you've scarcely heard of, let alone knew had a rugby team, continue to embarrass Ireland.
I mean, we're still talking about Samoa beating Wales back in '91 and that huge upset. Georgia managed to get a try in the last 10 minutes. That makes that game insignificant compared to this one.
Abu Saridze, the scrum half, ready to come on for Georgia. Possession stats, 65% Georgia.
Another best comes on to replace Easterby.
That's Sankaradze taking the ovation. He's the man replaced by Abu Saridze. And it's Neil Best for Easterby.
Touch. Balls. Engage. Ball.
And Isaac Boss is mugged effectively. This is Chaidze. Well, this is bordering on the extraordinary. For this game still to be in the melting pot with 8 minutes to play.
Surely
another drop. Kvirikashvili, and he's pulled it the other way. That's 3 attempts they've had now.
It's very difficult to get across the sense of anxiety in the stadium. The Irish supporters are on tenterhooks. They cannot wait. They can't wait for the final whistle, which is a staggering prospect.
Well, even the natural ebullience of the Irish supporters has long since disappeared. There are drawn faces. Ones which are used to smiling, whatever the circumstances. The mark called for by Dempsey. Quick line out. Kvirikashvili.
Not a problem, Martin.
Dempsey again calls for the mark.
Solid twice there from Gervin Dempsey at the back, just what you need at the moment. You don't need any of those balls going down. We saw with Stephen Jones today, Wales making a comeback, getting themselves back into the game, spills a high ball and Chris Latham just snaffles it, crashes over and effectively kills the game.
You've got the line, Green.
The replacement scrum half who's come on, Abu Saridze, had a fantastic game against the Argentines. Sankaradze was superb at the base today. Strong scrum halves.
They've embarrassed Argentina, and now they are frightening Ireland.
shell-shocked. I mean, Martin Corrie talked about England being shell-shocked. At the moment, Ireland they don't seem to know where to turn. They can't find any space where they thought there'd be space. They can't get any change out of the Georgian forwards. They're getting knocked back. All the 50-50 balls are being regathered by the Georgians. They'll feel they're not getting many decisions from the referee, and saying that, there's one, and Boss is off.
Isaac Boss. O'Connell. Picked up by O'Gara. Ireland desperate for the breathing space that another score would give them.
You could see Horan there. O'Gara wanted to go wide, and the prop got in his way. There's so much anxiety. They're losing their shape. They're all playing in ones. They're playing solo efforts.
Boss.
And that's terrible.
Straight to Skinnin. And Skinnin kicks ahead. Back goes Shane Horgan.
That's a better option. Lots of time. O'Gara in a better position to kick. He kicks poorly.
Straight down the throat of Ojukashvili. Here's one for Dempsey.
The kicks have all just gone a yard too far. They've all been taken well by Dempsey, but all 3 up and unders in the last 2 or 3 minutes. Just being a yard inside the Irish 22, allowing Dempsey the option of taking the mark and just diffusing the pressure. And he's missed touch.
Skinnin, scorer of the Georgian try.
That's a great kick.
It's a tester for Horgan.
And that looked like a block to me, but it doesn't matter.
Shvilidze, Datunashvili. Couldn't get the ball out to Abasaridze. And again, Ireland are forced to live on the very nerve ends. Virikashvili, almost a way through.
They've got all sorts of numbers on the right-hand side.
They need quick ball.
Ireland reorganised now. They'll go back to the big men.
Kinchakashvili. But the bigger men and the bigger hearts have been Georgian tonight. And this familiar pick and drive. Knocking at Ireland's door, on occasions banging at it.
You get a sense of the inevitability here about the way the Georgians are going.
Stay there, Paul, just stay there. Play up, not a knock on.
Now it's Maisaradze.
Hands away, Green!
Ireland players with desperation in their minds. And etched on some of their faces too.
That's good defence though, it's a good one-man tackle.
Hands away, Green!
Up to the line go Georgia. And Wayne Barnes,
my goodness, is he going upstairs?
Blows his whistle. Now will he go to the television match official? It's a big decision for a rookie referee on the international stage.
And the interesting thing is, what's the question? Will he ask, is there any reason why I can't award it?
Well, let's listen to what he does ask.
Can you tell me if that is a try, yes or no?
That's a different question to the one I was talking. That means the official has to be able to see it being dotted, as opposed to Wayne Barnes thinking it's been scored.
He's asking Federico Cuesta, the Argentine, to confirm he heard the nature of the request.
An Argentine official now.
Yes, thank you very much.
See the line there. Isaac Boss is on it. Shane Horgan's on it.
Where's the ball?
Shvilidze's celebrating, but I can't see how he can see that. No, okay, you can see the ball clearly there. Leamy at the bottom, underneath it.
Okay, I will award a scrum 5 attacking.
So no try.
Is that correct?
Look at these gladiators.
And that's precisely what they are. And they're not finished yet. 2.5 minutes.
Control the mob and you'll control Rome, isn't that what Maximus said? The mob are on the Georgian side.
And it pops out on the Ireland side.
Good scrummage from the Irish.
From them. Not such a good ball back to O'Gara, who just gets the kick away in the nick of time.
A line out, 15 out. it would seem, with the length of time it takes them to go 15 metres, that this could be the last chance. This is the last roll of the dice. For Ireland, they just need to be disciplined. They need to stay focused. Defensive organisation. They can't afford to miss any one-on-ones. They know what's coming. It's the kitchen sink.
The most experienced Irish rugby team ever to take to the international field, still threatened with the ultimate shock defeats. Eddie O'Sullivan watching. At least he is watching now. There have been times when he daren't. Isaac Boss.
Great steal from O'Connor. Great steal from O'Connor under pressure. Previously they haven't competed. They thought, we'll drop it, we'll sack them all. O'Connell understood the importance there of not allowing the Georgians to gain possession. Read the line out well. They do their homework. They watch these DVDs.
Safe take at the front of the line out. Giogadze. Average wage of a Georgian rugby player, £40 a week. Abasaridze. Horgan underneath it for Ireland. Gets the mark. And there are just 30 seconds on the game clock now.
So what does he do? Take his time and make sure the line-out doesn't happen? Or kick it off sideways? Surely they had to keep hold of the ball and back themselves to keep the ball for 30 seconds and then close the game, and to give the opportunity for the Georges for one last effort. For someone of Horgan's experience.
But it fits with the rest of the Irish performance.
Yep, headless. Headless, disorganised, dysfunctional.
There'll be no bonus point. We're still at a stage where there might not even be a win. We're now at the stage where the next time the ball goes dead, that will be it. Georgia have to keep it alive, have to keep it moving. They're 25 metres away from their objective. Gorgodze.
Whatever the result, the Georgians will go around this pitch and take a standing ovation from the entire crowd. Even the Irish fans will appreciate the effort they put in tonight.
Abasaridze. Virakashvili. Now it's Eloshvili. Abasaridze.
Oh, great handoff.
Urjakashvili. Half a break. Again within 22, 23 metres of the Irish line.
Has it been turned over? Was that the final throw?
Well, if Ireland have turned it over, they'll want it off the playing area as quickly as possible.
Oh!
Penalty for Georgia.
They can't go to touch, they've got to keep the ball in hands. Shvalidze appealing for calm from his players. He understands what the situation is here. You get the feeling Gorgodze's going to get his hands on it at some stage. They're going to drive straight into the heart of the Irish defence.
You can hear Wayne Barnes saying to the Georgians, look, time has expired. You put it into touch, the game is over.
Look at them, they all want it. There he is, there's Gorgodze.
Eminently predictable that he'd be first up. Ireland with one more last defensive effort required. The ball turned over, the final whistle goes, and victory is Ireland's, but the moral victory is Georgia's by a hefty margin. There are one or two disagreements at the end. Eddie O'Sullivan down from his eyrie at the back of the stand, but so nearly one of the great stories, one of the great upsets, with Georgia leading for 15 minutes in the second half after Shkinin had run 2/3 of the length of the pitch to score an interception try, which will be remembered and talked about in Georgia for many a year to come. They're getting a wonderful reception, even from the most generous Irish supporters. But Ireland were shambolic tonight. They scored 2 tries through Rory Best and through Gervin Dempsey, both converted by Ronan O'Gara. They were expected to win handsomely. They have won only limply. and the rugby world will have Georgia on its mind tonight, tomorrow, and for a good while to come. The final score in the Stade Chalban Delmar in Bordeaux is Ireland 14, Georgia 10.
Thanks to John Champion and to Will Greenwood. What a shocking couple of nights for the Six Nations. Ireland have never got beyond the quarter-finals in a Rugby World Cup. If they play like that, they'll be lucky to get that far this time round. Reaction and comment when you rejoin us.